Hello and welcome, everyone. How's everyone doing today? This is Niko Ana, and this is the Dharma Masterclass series on teachings of oneness. And today we're going to continue to explore the topic of oneness and how it relates to our practical, everyday life stuff in our modern world, and how we can use the things in our life that just are the mundane things that happen to us, the relationships and the everyday stuff in our life, to really develop our personal spiritual development and to just stay on the path of transformation and allowing our consciousness to expand. So today, we're going to be talking about how to navigate the world of positionality and divisiveness, and how we can really just resolve that in ourselves with our own inner conflicts, our own inner positionality and divisiveness in our own being. So before we dive into the topic, I'm actually going to invite everyone to just do a little quick exercise with me, to tune in and start to just relax your body onto whatever surface that you're on. If you'd like to close your eyes, if you're able to close your eyes right now, go ahead and do so. You can place your hands on your heart center if that feels good to you. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose, out through the nose or mouth. Nice, easy breaths, and relax your tongue onto the floor of your mouth so that you're just really letting your tongue be soft. And we're just going to count to ourselves 6-second inhale and 6-second exhale a couple times here. Good. Just relax all the muscles in your face and let your eyes just relax from your eyelids. I feel your forehead soften and relax. The top of your head. Just notice the spaciousness behind your eyes. Let yourself become aware of the space inside your head and around the outside of your head in your energy field. Tune into the expansiveness. Let your shoulders feel soft and relaxed. Sensing the spaciousness in your neck and your upper back and chest. Your arms and hands. Your torso. Your hips. And your legs and feet. You just feel your whole body expand. Feel the spaciousness inside and outside of your body. Good. Now go ahead and tune into your heart center. And just notice the feeling in the heart center If you like to visualize it or sense it, and you can start to intend to breathe in and out through your heart center. You can even see that breath moving in and out through the heart center. Think about someone you care for deeply now. Someone who you love so much. As soon as you think of them, you just get a smile on your lips. And send a beam of loving energy out of your heart to that person's heart. There could be a pet. It could be a group of people. It could be a place. Just feel the loving energy coming from your heart, going to their heart, tuning into that feeling, allowing it to grow and magnify all over your body. Just start to tune in again to the feelings in your body. As I lead you back, bring your awareness back to your body. Start to feel the surface that you are on right now. You can take a nice deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Slowly bringing your attention back into your environment. If your eyes were closed, you can gently open them and just let your gaze stay soft. And start to come back by looking around in your environment. Let's find something round to focus on. Find the first round object in your environment and just focus on its size and shape and color and texture. And just let that bring you in. Excuse me, I sneezed. That ought to bring you back. Good, everyone. Okay. If you want to stretch your arms up to the sky and really stretch your fingers out like really wide, look up with your eyes like you're receiving something wonderful from the universe. And then come back to center. So everyone, hopefully you're feeling relaxed now. Maybe a shift, maybe you notice a shift in the way you feel from before we started the meditation. And this is just a really great time now to set your intention for what you would like to receive from the rest of this session. So let's talk about positionality and divisiveness in our world. Many times we're drawn to pay attention to politics and news and things in our world that are very positional. And positional, let me just define what I mean by positional so you know we're on the same page. That positionality is just simply when, you've got a black and white attitude towards something, you, me, anyone. It's like this or that, right or wrong, black or white. It usually indicates there's two camps. There's only two choices, two sides of the coin. Typically that is just that there's nothing in between. Positionality is very fixed. And when an example of positionality is just, saying perhaps that I'm for or against something, I'm against this, that's a position. Or I'm for this, that's a position. There's no judgment around it, it's just a position. And in our societies, we're constantly being encouraged to position ourselves on one side or the other of something, an issue, a topic, groups of people, arguments. Just so many things that we can become positional about. And this can cause a lot of divisiveness, meaning it divides people into two groups, into two camps. An example of this that seems pretty harmless is sports, right? Sporting events. Many people enjoy watching sporting events, anywhere from watching the little leagues to up to the major national teams that you might have, wherever it is you live. And you may find that there's different levels of positionality in even in that world, where you're for a team or against a team. And it can be playful and fun. And it can even actually become pretty serious for some people. Some people can take sports pretty seriously. And perhaps they can even get upset when their team doesn't win. They can become very upset. And so this is just an example of being positional. So if you've decided, I am for this particular sports team, this is my team, and then it's fun. Sure, it's fun. You watch the sporting event, they lose. Okay, maybe you're a little down, but you go on with your life. That's not too positional. That's probably a pretty healthy way to just enjoy something that is part of our world. It's part of, how we experience life. But if you get so upset that it ruins your day, or you yell at your kid or your spouse, you become cranky, you complain about it. You go online and you post on social media about it, and then you just really sets the tone for you. And that indicates that you've got a pretty strong position there that's causing you some suffering. So again, this is just some examples of like everyday positionality and divisiveness. So let's just say that you've got this team against that team, and then you've got the audience that's with one team or the other. And then you notice that you start to actually think of those people as those other people, those people over there that are cheering for that team. And even if it seems like harmless fun, there's still like a part of you that has separated yourself from those people, even in that moment. And so I'm just inviting you to consider, the subtle implications of these kinds of energies, that they just are pervasive in our world. And we can succumb to them anytime without even realizing it. So that's just one level of sort of what's, like I said, seems like harmless fun, all the way to when perhaps in a nation, the political divide becomes so strong that it creates intense conflict in a society. It creates rioting and fights and violence, and it creates divisions amongst families, even spouses, families, communities, organizations, so it can actually become a real problem when it becomes too intense, too polarized. And again, when I say we, I mean we all are susceptible to these energies because they are a part of the illusion of separateness in our world. And we talk about teachings of oneness, but we also have to talk about what's the opposite of oneness, or what is the illusion that stops us from experiencing oneness. And the answer is always separateness, being apart from, being separated from this or that. I mean, ultimately, being separated from our source is the true root of all illusion, that we're separate from our source of being. whatever that is for you, whether you're religious or not, or you have something you believe in a higher power, or maybe you believe in the universe being like an entity, or something beyond our understanding, a cohesiveness, love itself. All these things represent oneness. We come from one source, but we are many drops of one ocean. We leave the ocean and we become a drop, and then we forget that we are part of the ocean, and we think that we're this drop here all by ourselves, and that the other drops that we can see around us are not us. But if you put us all together, we'd be the same drop, and then we go back into the ocean and we would all become the same substance. And that's oneness. So when we get into positionality, we're really exploring that illusion. And if we're not aware that we're doing that, it can become very painful, because then we get into judgments of what's right and wrong. Positionality is always rooted in right and wrong. There's one way to do things. There's this way or that way. There's right is right and wrong is wrong. Those are some memes for you that just embody that. But we all know, if you're listening to this, I suspect, you know that there are way more gray areas of life than black and white areas of life. Maybe even there are no black and white areas of life, perhaps. But there are just many, many gray areas. So how do we resolve this, reflection in our world, in our outer world, of this intense positionality that really actually comes from within? How do we resolve it? Well, I just invite you to just observe yourself, really. And this is all we can do, is just observe ourselves. And again, as I say many times, is to try to widen the gap between the stimulus coming into you and your reaction to it, so that if there's more space in there, you can choose. You can be more apt to be able to choose a response, or even a not respond, rather than have a reaction that's just programmed, that just comes from a program or out of fear or stress. And so when you're feeling conflicted, or you're upset by what you're observing in your outer world, you see people being divided, you see conflict, you feel threatened by someone else's position because it somehow makes you feel unsafe. Just observe yourself. Just observe what's really happening. Ask yourself, okay, here I am having this feeling around what's happening in my outer world. Ask yourself, is it really a threat? Okay, ask yourself one time. Then ask it again. Okay, is it really, really a threat? Ask it twice. And there's a reason for this. This is actually a technique that's used in positive psychology. So ask yourself twice. See if you can get an answer. Can you get the same answer twice? Typically, it's really not a threat. Typically, it's really not. Because if you can stop to even ask the question, you're probably not being threatened. If you were truly being threatened, you wouldn't even be able to stop and ponder. So usually the answer is no. No, this is really not a threat. Okay, so why do I think this is a threat? What's really behind this? And so again, widening the gap, and in that space there, just allowing yourself to observe what comes up. Well, okay, so this person has this opinion about something, and then it makes me feel threatened, to like something might be taken away from me, or my identity is being attacked. Maybe you have you identify with something or someone, and this person is somehow they're on the other position, the other side of it. And you're polarized against this person, and it feels very threatening, and it makes you feel stressed. It makes you feel like you have to defend yourself. Maybe like you're being attacked, or you're worried you're going to be attacked. So the answer is, again, observing and becoming aware, and then choosing to just allow yourself to have those feelings. Okay? Just allow it. Acceptance of your feelings. And then maybe you can get a shift around it. And perhaps you can shift out of feeling threatened or attacked to really just accepting that the truth is, you're always safe. You're always safe. No matter what anyone else's opinion is, or what person is in political power, no matter what it is that's happening in your outer world, you are the one that chooses your own responses to your life. You can become empowered. You can become empowered to lead yourself. Okay, you're leading yourself every moment in the way that you respond to your outer world. And you can either, sit in victimization and be at the mercy of the whims of the outer world and their positions and opinions, or you can stay in your center and you can release judgment of the outer world. You can release judgment of the reflections in the outer world of your own conflicts. And so what I'm saying to you is that when you do the work, and I'm going to say every day, because it really is an everyday job. It's an everyday job to do the work, the inner work, to resolve the constant conflicts that come up, that arise within us. We have constant conflicts in us all the time, even at the most subtle levels, even just like trying to decide what to eat for breakfast. Oh, should I have this or that? I don't know. Well, this is healthy, but I really want this. Oh, I shouldn't. Just back and forth, black and white, this or that. You know what I'm talking about. You felt it. And so it's constant. That's the nature of the mind and of ego. And so we can get into a place where we just become aware of it, and then we can see, okay, I'm having a conflict about really something that doesn't matter. I'm just going to choose this because this aligns with my value system. Okay, if you've decided that you're going to eat what you describe as healthy, and it's different for everyone. Okay, but you're like, I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to eat a healthy breakfast. Maybe that's just not eating donuts or something sugary. I don't know, a Danish or something. That's what I used to eat all the time for breakfast, is the Danishes, donuts, things like that. Let's say that you've created for yourself a value system where you want to feed your body something healthy, something that supports health and wellness. And then you're in conflict. You're in conflict about it. Just when the conflict arises, just remember your value system and remember that you've chosen health. You've chosen vitality. You've chosen to live in a way that allows you to thrive. And so you already know that eating the non-healthy substance goes against your values. So you just choose it. You resolve the conflict by remembering your value system. Okay? And it's just a habit that you practice every day, is staying centered in your value system, your beliefs, your vision for yourself, the vision you have for the kind of life that you want to live, the life that you are living, which is likely one of, health, vitality, happiness, joy, compassion, fulfillment. You want to be at ease. You want peace. And so every action that you take, you want it to support that vision. And so the more you practice this in your own inner world and resolve those little conflicts that come up throughout the day, the more you notice that those conflicts are less and less, and you really start to get comfortable and peaceful with your choices. And it just becomes second nature to choose that which you know is good for you, to choose to not even have a conflict over the choices anymore. And then you'll notice your outer world starts to reflect that. And even if you observe conflict in your outer world, you might even not feel that emotionally attached to it. Just like, well, this really isn't about me. You can see conflict on the news or maybe in your own family, and you can just let it be there. You can let it be there without judging it and without the need to get involved. So here's a practice. I can give you an example. Let's just say in your family system, you've got a lot of different people that have a lot of different opinions about things. And you get together with some of them and everyone's talking, and there's usually someone that's going to state an opinion. And then someone else is going to state the opposite opinion. And then, of course, in yourself, in your ego, in your mind, there's going to be a tendency to want to pick one side or the other. This is the nature of existence, of being in a body, of having a mind. And so the practice is to just not choose, not have the need to express a position, okay? That's the moment where we want to say something, right? We want to jump in, we want to debate. And so the spiritual practice here is to just refrain from taking any position. It's not even about don't take sides. It's not even about that, because you can always take sides in your mind. You can actually decide, well, I really agree with that person and not that person, but I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to stay quiet. That's not the practice, okay? I want to make that distinction. The practice is in your own mind, in your own being, not choosing a position, letting it be, letting both things just be there, letting both sides simply just be there without jumping onto one or the other in your own being. And see what happens with that. Like, see how that shifts your experience in relationships and in life, and just your ability to go through your life in a peaceful way. To just be at peace with whatever arises within yourself and on the outside. That's really the key, because living in this world, we're going to see a lot of extremes happening in our systems, in our societies, in our organizations, in our structures. We're just going to see a lot. We're going to see a lot of changes, and we may see upheavals, and we may see a lot of things really shift. But the center within us remains the same. And if you think about the vast history of human existence, and if you study history, and you just really kind of take in all the ways in which societies have evolved and changed, and even maybe become extinct or even flourished, the vast, like, dynamic stories of the history of our existence as humans on this planet. You think about all the things that have come and gone while people have been alive for the eons. And then just think about this point in time and space that you're in, and just know you're not any different than any other human being that ever lived on this earth. There's always been conflict. There's always been positionality and divisiveness. As long as human beings have become cognitive, living beings, that could have any sort of relationships with each other beyond the most primal relationships, that you can bet that there's been some version of conflict. So we can't escape the conflicts in our world, but we can learn to stay at our center and to release the need to participate in the conflicts inside ourselves. And then what can we do? What can we do instead? Well, we can just show love, compassion, and empathy for other human beings. You know, we can look at the things that are similar between ourselves and someone else, that someone that might seem very different, someone that might have an extreme position that's the opposite of what we might have. We can look at the similarities. We can look at the ways in which we're the same, the challenges that we share as human beings being on the planet. And we can have empathy for all beings in the world, no matter whether they're sentient or not. And this is a practice that we can have every day. I promise you that if every human being had this practice, we wouldn't have conflicts anymore. If we all practiced empathy, compassion towards one another, then we would not have positionality and divisiveness anymore. We would actually experience oneness in our outer world. We would. Yeah, we're not there yet, but that's okay, because it's the journey that matters. We're on a journey here as human beings, as spiritual beings in human bodies. We're on a journey, and we are developing our consciousness level, and we are seeking and experiencing different levels of enlightenment, right? Isn't that what we want? We want to become enlightened. And so therefore, I want to invite you to consider that there's already a level of enlightenment that's accessible to you right now, that you can just realize it with these practices, these small daily practices that we talk about in this masterclass series. So again, I invite you to just observe your own positionality throughout the day, throughout your day, whether it's positioning against yourself, which can happen quite a bit in our world, or are those in your intimate relationships, or those that you don't even know in the world that you just maybe see out there on your social media platforms or on the news or something like that. Just observe, accept, and just practice staying in your center. Practice just letting go of the judgment and the need to take a position for or against something, especially yourself, because that's true self-love. That's true self-love. So what I'd like you to do now is just take a moment again and tune in. I'm going to have you tune into yourself again. Close your eyes if it feels comfortable to do that right now. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose or mouth. And then place your hands over your heart. And I'm just going to invite you now to go ahead and let these words just come into your energy system as though they were your own. And you can affirm this with me out loud if you like, or just let the words come in. I choose to let it be safe to stay in my center. I choose to let it be safe to let go of conflict. I choose to let it be safe to release judgment against others. And I choose to honor my value system no matter what's happening in my outer world. Good. And now I'm going to go ahead and just close our session today by saying this affirmation that I believe is a very, very powerful affirmation. And I invite you to use this affirmation or mantra, if you like to call it that, every day. May all beings be at ease and know joy. Namaste, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you in the next session. Namaste, everyone.